I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche. Be pleased to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is. Woohoo! Hello, gang. How's everyone doing? During this eclipse season starting, we're going to talk a little bit more about that also. So if you happen to be new to this podcast, welcome. I'm Michele, and it's really, really great to have you here. Those of you that have been with me, some of you since the very beginning, I want to welcome you back and thank you for co-creating this really community outreach, this way of connecting and sharing, and I do appreciate all of you being here as well as your input. So much needed. Also want to give a shout out again to Jacqueline for her uploading without me even having to ask or say anything. All is getting done. I really look forward to getting things more organized and the support to extend to YouTube. So it would be great, those of you that listen to this podcast and you like it, you feel a resonance, to subscribe to it also on YouTube, as well as subscribe to my Soul Insights and Tarot. I'm really putting a push out there to help the algorithm so that we can grow this community, reach more people, and play more. Have more soul play, soul playground play, right? Even though we are going through certain times right now, it really is the soul's playground, and it's sometimes hard to remember that this is all the spirit of play. Yeah. Anyway, love to hear from all of you. If you want to call in, that number is 347. Oh, my God, Jackie's in the chat. I didn't even know. Because, like, Jackie, I'm walking around. She's in the chat. Thank you. Oh, gosh. And Athena, hello in the chat. Hello, people getting in there. Okay, do call in with your questions, 347-539-5122, and press 1 on the keypad. Yeah, Jacqueline, I did. I just said thank you for all the uploading you're doing. I'm really appreciating that. I'm just getting one thing, it's like republishing my book that's going out to the Soul Insight. Anyway, there's all these things that I've had to do because that started last year that I wasn't able to do any of it due to a lot of technical issues. So stuff is getting made headway, and thanks to some people that are helping me, it really does make a difference. Athena, I forgot I logged in. I'm listening on the phone. Oh, good. Thanks for the shout out and congrats on the book. Oh, Athena, yeah. It's something that's, tried to go out last year, but going out this year. Anyway, please, when you're listening to this, take the time to subscribe to Soul Insights and Tarot. That's a way you can really help me, and also Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube. That will help, and also connect with me on Instagram, because we have some really great things coming up to weave different groups together, communities. We have some events that are going to be coming up. It's just getting the foundation down. It's just amazing how much time it takes to do things, especially when you work with other people, because you're also on other people's timelines and what can be done, what's available. So it's the flow of manifesting. You really learn what it takes to manifest on the earth plane until you get to a certain level, and then, when a certain level of the foundation is built, then there's some traction, and that's what we're trying to gain. So I really would appreciate that, especially if those of you that call into the show, things like leaving positive reviews, giving the show a 5 stars, those things really help. It helps more people find the podcast, find, Soul Insights and Tarot, Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube, and then it helps more people have the tools, especially because we do offer a lot of tools, whether on my website or through this podcast or the readings that I do. There's a lot of tools for coping and helping people understand themselves better in the path of awakening, spiritual development, spiritual integration. So we all need the support, and that's what I'm here. I love giving the support because I have been greatly helped by people that were very supportive of my process in life and my path. And, if it wasn't for people coming together and sharing what they knew or their gifts, a lot of people wouldn't understand what is actually happening or have some place to go or to get information. So again, if you want to listen by phone, that's great. I'm going to give the number again. If you want to call in, you just need to press 1 on your keypad. That's 347-539-5122. 347-539-5122. But remember, you need to press 1 on your keypad. Okay, because that gets you in the queue. And that lets me know you're not just listening from someplace else, from work or running around. All right, gang. So a lot, and also I want to extend you the invitation again. I'm going to keep reminding people about the Patreon community, too. That's a great way to get support and not only insights and help, but processes, exercises, meditations, group connecting. That's another great way to get support, insight, and information, but also share your particular soul perspective, not only on your life, but what's going on. And there's going to be more of this happening where people are more called to share and bring their piece. In fact, I think it's May 20th, I am going to be doing a workshop on the key codes and bringing sound into it again with Grace O. If you're interested in that, you can email me and find out about it. I'll probably maybe I'll do a post today on the stories. I'll start posting on Instagram. I always forget to. But we're going to, one thing that's starting to happen is these key codes being decoded. That's part of the awakening, where people are getting signals of where to go or who to be with or what to share, their part. So you probably have felt right now, even during these eclipses in particular, that something has definitely changed or shifted within you. Like something, like, wow, something's over. Or it's like, I know when I did my dissertation, it's like all this work, and then I finally got to speak, and I finally got to say, I finally got to write what I thought, what I felt. Or the first time, anything, graduating from school or a program or a workshop, or even if it's as an artisan or a creative, or you're in some job, maybe you had you had to learn something new, so there was a learning curve. You get to a point where you just go, something clicks, right? And you don't even think about it at the time, but looking back, you go, wow, that was the moment I knew what I was doing, or I knew what I was doing with my job, or my jewelry design, the way that I painted changed, and it was so much better, or it made sense. I suggest to you that you really look at your life right now from that lens, because that is going to show you not only where to go, what to do, what's coming up next. Because one of the things that's happening in this part of the awakening, and this is why sound and tone and wavelength and vibration, resonance and coherence is so important, is because that's what the soul operates on. energy in motion, the emotion of something. How much charge is there? What kind of charge? Is it life-enhancing charge, like when we get very inspired? Or is it mental, emotional, physical charge that is draining, that innervates, that breaks things down? The soul, if we allow it, we don't get in the way through the higher self, will always go towards that which is life-enhancing. That's which brings more life force animating energy, what's more vital. So we really are becoming these more sensory beings. Like, right, inner compass, GPS, it goes by the electromagnetic pull, right? There's a map inside, and the map is now being revealed. But it's not done through thinking. So it's almost like the thinking is the afterthought. And I saw something earlier, I think it was on the astrology podcast, actually. And I think his name is Austin Kopic. Kopic, is that it? And he was talking about why memes work. And I was thinking, as a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist, I was thinking, oh yeah, the subconscious mind. And having studied Jungian dream therapy and healing, I was like, yes, that's the subconscious. But I love the way he's talking about, because in the podcast they were talking about certain glyphs and that language used to be the visual or auditory with some kind of glyph, some type of picture. So or the words in the picture. And by the way, I want to remember this, because we do have coming on later Drake Eastburn, who is actually a hypnotherapist. So I want to dive a bit into this with him, because there is statistics on this, actually. And the statistics show that when you're doing repatterning work or trying to change a pattern, or you are changing a pattern, might be a better way to format this, is that if you use words and music, or sound and tone and music, you have a better chance. And that's because it engages both the left hemisphere of the brain and the right. So that's why even in, workshops, like all sound, all tone, all music, that could be uplifting, that's helpful. But then you use the words for encoding. And then having the music or the tone or sound, that's why even like sitting near a river or listening to the waves of the ocean going back and forth, right, can be very mesmerizing. So it relaxes what they call the conscious part of our aspect, but it's really the cognitive. It's the thinking and trying to figure things out part. It recedes. It softens is a better way. It opens. Doesn't have as much of a hold, so that whatever you're encoding, that affirmation or that desire, that goal, or whatever it is, has a better chance of embedding without resistance to, oh, I can't, or it doesn't make sense, or this or that. So I thought when Austin had said that in the podcast conversation about the memes, it really struck a chord. And he said because it really hits a meme, just has just enough words and then the visual. And I thought to myself, that's where we're going. That's what's unfolding for us. And what is within that visual? There is a sensing, a feeling tone. There's an intuition. We get something. The right okay symbol with your hand saying everything's okay, but the right look on the face lets somebody know that's congruent. Yeah, everything is okay. I could tell by the face what the person was looking like in the face, the peace, the calm, or relief. So if you had the symbol without the continents of the visual and what's transmitted or emanates from the physical, it may not be congruent. If it wasn't congruent, the person would go, no, everything's not okay. I could tell by how they looked. So we're really getting a lot of retraining and entrainment to get out of conditioning. I just did a video of the Pick a Card. It will be up tomorrow, 9 a.m., on messages from the higher self. I really got this in meditation. It was just like this train coming through my meditation. It was just like, just amazing. I love trains, by the way, so it wasn't like jarring. But this amazing messaging about timely, sensitive information. And a lot of it had to do with conditioning. I think that's why I'm talking about this right now, because I was amazed. It didn't matter. And those of you that watch the video, when you do it, you'll see. And if you watch All Soul Stories, if it was different ways, I shuffled in between, I shuffled on camera. It was a different focus, but the threading through was all about conditioning and beliefs and fear and being held back. And I feel what people are going to find out is most of our fear is due to conditioning of what we think will or will not happen. Because to me, as a therapist, fear is not a big thing. It is a natural human emotion. It's needed. It's necessary. It's part of our inner psyche. It's a protection mechanism. Now, to live chronically in that state or any state is not, healthy. So when we talk about chronic fear or, phobias, things like that impact people's lives negatively, that's a whole different thing. But really it goes down to beliefs, our conditioning. What were we conditioned to think about ourselves, about the world, or how to feel about ourselves, or perhaps primary caregivers? Was our world safe? Because if our world wasn't safe, then we don't feel the bigger world is safe. There's all these correlations. So I found it very, very powerful in impacting the messaging that was coming through in this reading and how it ties in to the astrological transits right now with, Pluto going back into Capricorn to look at the structure before it comes back into Aquarius, with Pluto being our power, our empowerment, our cleansing, our clearing, our purifying. But where our power and empowerment is, reclaiming our power. And to reclaim our power, we do have to look at our conditioning. Because not only individually, no blame or shame on families, it's a societal, it's been passed on for thousands of years to be less than, or this group is more than, this is the elite, this is the less, right? This is the master, these are the ones that have it all, these are the slaves. If you go back in written history of any sort, whether it's from texts or books or scrolls or written on a rock, you have this dynamic of power over underpowered. The slave, the master, have nots. There's so many ways to say it. So that is what over time, chronological time and timing, our consciousness shifting, more consciousness, awareness, understanding, that is starting to change to unlock that. And that's what I'm getting in a lot of the readings. It's about unlocking something, unlocking the prison, moving away from that. But it's literally being unlocked from within our mind, our mindset, our inner psyche, from our belief system, or what we call mental constructs. We have certain mental constructs that have caused certain beliefs. The beliefs hold those in place. And some of it's out of protection to not feel a certain way or or to feel a certain way. This is why it's so important for us to express as a soul. When you call in, like on a podcast like this or other podcasts or groups, or you join groups and you join with others, and you don't just hang back forever and ever. You dare to speak your thoughts, your ideas. You dare to speak your experience. That's one more removal of the cog, of the link, of the shackle, right? The chain from the link. It's one more unlinking, uncoupling from that conditioning, from that old paradigm scenario. So it literally is partly in this game that we walk away from something that says, okay, we learned or we experienced in this way. And now there's growth coming out of that. Out of separation or feeling isolated, cut off, on our own. Now we are going into unity. That doesn't mean you lose your individuality, but you recognize, and not only recognize, but feel through the sensory, through the emotional body, the interconnectedness. So it's big changes right now. It's really definable. I don't know if I'd say big because we've been going through a lot of big changes and a lot of shifting, and we're in transition still, but I do feel it's starting to get much more definable. So look at places in your life. Where is the definition now starting to come in? That's the place to go. You know, I had the other day someone call me a client of mine to do a house clearing, and I emailed back and forth, and I forgot. I love house clearing. It's a lot of work, but it's amazing. I love getting in there in the energetic field. I love encountering spirits. I love helping them cross over or move over or go to the light. You know, I love all of that. And using the technique, the energetic clearing technique that I do. So I put that on my field of consciousness. Oh, I like that. I want to do more of that. Well, then, 2 more came in within, I think it was 2 days, 3 days at the most. And I thought, yes, I love doing this. I want to do more of this. I may even teach a workshop on it because the way that I do it is it's pretty. Anyway, it's pretty profound and it's fun, and it's kind of a 2-day process where the beginning you remote view into the house or location or whatever it is. And you start getting in touch with the spirit. So then my sleep the night before is always very lively with the spirits coming to me or me seeing what's going on around the property, whether embodied beings, people, or non-embodied beings. But I felt that opening. I felt that this is definable. I like this. That's the soul. I like this. This feels good to me. This feels interesting to me. This brings in a certain type of feeling. We could call it inspiration. It raises my energy level, my vibrational frequency extends or expands into my soul because it's part of my soul and my soul gifts. This, to me, is a lot of what I'm seeing in this upcoming eclipse cycle that started in April. We're finishing the water earth. We'll have another water earth in October. But we're moving into what is already grounded. Make it sacred ground, or recognize it is sacred ground. Bring your ideas into physical manifestation. In other words, the soil, we've been tilling the soil. The soil's good, folks. The soil is good. Now it's time to act on inspiration, insight, move into inspired action, to have those ideas. It's a lot about ideas and sharing on the mental realm, clearing out the mental realm of conditioning and beliefs so that you can free up. So it is a very, very powerful, powerful, powerful time right now, especially as Pluto, when it goes back into Aquarius, that's about the individual within the group. That is about changing individually to change through the group and change the groups and how we relate, whatever that means, corporations, companies, organizations, educational systems. It's the individual now. So the change seemed to happen with Pluto and Capricorn. It looks like things are happening on the outside, in the government system, the government crackdown, trackdown, lockdown. It's this body. But corporation, coming from the Latin word corpus, is in there, is individual body. So in Aquarius, we start waking up and going, hey, all these groups, all these companies, all these organizations, all these foundations, all these systems, are made of me, are made of the individual. So it's going to be a time really about reclaiming power, maybe more power struggles, individual with the group, with the collective, and then people recognizing, oh, I am part of the collective. So if out of 100 people, individually 10 of us pull away to do something else, that's going to make an impact, or 20 of us, or 50 of us. You see what I'm saying? So there's really going to be a lot more empowerment that becomes more definable in your own way, in your own soul way. See what people have gotten in the chat. Then we're going to go to callers, 347-539-5122. Oh, Jackie, about the workshop. Yeah, maybe you can go to you. Okay, yeah, put it in the, if you don't mind. Yeah, just email me. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it too, actually. Maybe I can put the link in. Oh, here it is. Yeah, key code, activation, and vibrational sound attunement. We're attuning. So I will put that in the chatteroo. You can always email me or email info@soulplayground.life. You can also go to union.com, and just click on my Michele Meiche, or say Michele Meiche, and it'll have, but I'll remember to post. Yes, it's going to be on Union, because then I can leave the replays. Okay, I just put the link in the chat. Oh, sorry, Jack. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. Union.fit. Okay. Okay, sound attunement. Let me put it in. See, these little things I don't remember. And I used to get upset with myself but now I'm like, okay, Michele, that's just kind of a little bit how you are. Somebody said something, Bob, where's the definition starting to come in? You mean where are we becoming more clearly defined? Ooh, I like that, Bob. Yes. Now, yes, clearly defined, or situations like in that example I gave you. It's defining the energy. I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me on this. And if you don't, that's fine too, and let me know. We've had so much change and so much, quote unquote, up in the air that things haven't been definable or as defined. We felt something changing in our life, or I don't know, I don't feel happy about this, or I feel a little bored or constricted, or I don't know, I don't know if it's the right time. Now that energy, because remember, those of you that listen to my podcast, on a pretty regular basis, I was saying all along that don't get caught up in the fear of this chaotic energy. It's just creative energy. So, let's say the people that were like, oh my God, typewriter sales are down. This is an example. Nobody's buying typewriters anymore. What are we going to do? Oh my God, typewriter sales are down. Instead of lamenting about typewriter sales are down, some people were taking that typewriter keyboard, using that keyboard or adapting it to a QWERTY keyboard, and making a PDA, personal data assistant, from which the smartphone came in. Do you see what I'm saying? This is the time for innovation. I asked the guys, I said, is there going to be invention? There will be, but really right now, even if you look at AI, it's still an innovation. It's still based on other things that were already invented, other technology, other platforms, other systems. Because I remember when I actually took a chatbot making course a few years ago, and what I wanted to do is basically what AI is doing right now, but aggregating from the internet. I wanted to do that, and I was told minimum it would cost $30,000, but probably more like $300,000, because in order for what I wanted to create, a company would need at least a year of my conversations or what clients mostly ask me, or students, to aggregate all of that and put it into a certain form that I wanted to do. And I said, this was the way. See, I get this stuff from the guides. They told me this years ago. They said, people are going to want to duplicate themselves. you know. And so I thought, oh, God, that's a great idea. I've been trying to do that in various ways. So I had this great idea, which I talked to some people, investors, and some were willing to give some seed money, but I still had to do a lot of it on my own. And I thought, no, something will happen with the technology that it's just going to get easier. And same with NFT, non-fungible. What am I saying? Transits. What am I? NFTs and EFTs. That EFT tapping. You guys. Anyway, same with that technology. You know, it's still so new. And 3 to 4 years ago, 5 years, it was still very new. And what are we going to do? You know, or we're going to make an NFT of a bunny, and people are buying that. I had friends that bought these NFTs for $1,000, $3,000, $6,000. They're like, oh, you should buy this and put it in your wallet, and it's going to be worth something. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't like the art, and secondarily, how is it going? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think me having this that people are going to want this, and I'm going to be able, you know, to take that and do something with it. You know, there's nothing, you know, with that NFT, non-fungible token or fungible token, FT, what am I getting, you know, there has to be more value. It has to be used as an access point. So I've been speaking in some small groups about this, sharing there. Yeah, emotional freedom technique, Bob. Yeah, I just got it messed up. Oh, Jackie, you just signed up. Yay! Yay, 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 yay. Great. I'll see you Saturday, the 20th. Yeah, not EFT, which I did study EFT. You know, that's really my world. Not NFTs, but using NFTs perhaps. Yeah, non-fungible tokens and FT fungible tokens. So there's a lot. Then I'm going to get to callers. But basically, and Bob, to your point in the chat, it's definable moments, but think of it also as definable energy. The energy is starting to get more defined. Now, see, we do deep dives onto this in my Patreon group. We talk about, especially in the Soul Path Seeker and Soul Path Journeyer tier, because in the Soul Path Journeyer tier, we meet monthly. What we're talking about is the building blocks of manifestation, of creation. And so as an occultist, an esotericist, this is what we learn. This is the basis of magic, you know, partially alchemy, magic. These are just aspects or parts of manifestation. So if I know, okay, here's a tip, you guys, and I'm telling you, I do deep dives into this, into my workshops. I love talking about this because this is how the universe works. This is on a spirit, with the spiritual essence, you know, energy. Yeah, to know what's manifesting or wants to come through, to bring more resonance or see if you have enough resonance for this, you begin to feel it, or you need to feel it energetically. And so that's what's happening right now. We're moving from the spirit realm, the undifferentiated energy of God, or the all that is coalescing. It's chaotic. It's moving around into the Akash, the place of the seed, right? The blueprint. And then from the Akash into the astral, and then the etheric. It hangs in the etheric. This is also, which I do integrate in, the tree of life. It bounces from the 7th, 8th, and 9th sphere, right? It bounces from these spheres to start coalescing to see, is there enough to manifest this? Is there enough? That's the spheres of creation. Is there enough there to manifest the 10th sphere, to make it a denser physical reality? So it's very powerful. So what's happening is, in essence, part of the awakening, and then people studying and or learning and or remembering. So again, it always goes back to follow the feeling, the resonance, the true vibration. But we have to clear enough of the emotional patterning or emotional wounding to understand what is really of resonance, because we've been taught to fake resonance. We've been taught, oh, I'm really excited about this. This is amazing. This is going to be successful. This is what I need to do. Not knowing ourselves. And then we don't get what we want, or, it could be very detrimental, or it doesn't last. So it bounces from that honor to victory to foundation to kingdom on the tree of life. And then it begins to coalesce, right? That's what we're talking about, the coalescing. That's where the definition starts coming through. And so now you can help it. That's where you become that co-creator, or you tap into your creator ability, right? You tap into the creator aspect of your being, that I feel now where the energy wants to go, right? It's Yesod is the foundation. And it's to establish patterns. It's to see what patterns are working for you. See, we've been taught to fight the patterns. That's part of the problem. We fight the pattern. Oh, I don't want that. That's not me. But that might be your soul. And then when you start learning to align more to your soul, you are more fulfilled. You are more happy. You are very happy. It reminds me of one of the indigenous cultures. We had a woman on years ago, and she mentioned this, an author that lived with the I can never say this right. The Maoris in New Zealand. And I can see her face, but I cannot think of her name right now. Lovely, lovely woman. But they give a general name at birth, and then around, I think it's 13 or 14, when they start seeing the child, what the child's natural proclivities are, what really the child is interested in, then they name the child a name that goes along with that, that's in resonance with that, right? Reinforces that. This is why I'm a proponent of people getting their charts done, not only for themselves, but their children. So you're not fighting the true nature. And that's what, unfortunately, in the old paradigm, the old game, there was a lot of fighting our true nature, how we really are. I mean, if people did that, there wouldn't be bullying. There would be no need to bully. So there will be at some point more of a relaxing, and I think you guys are going to start feeling this in your own life, kind of a relaxing into, this is how I am, okay? And then drawing in, because there's no resistance, more people that understand you, that get you, or maybe even a shift with those around you now, because they're relaxing into how they really are, what they're about, how they operate on this dimension. They'll be relaxing more into their soul. And so that's a highest level of self-love and self-acceptance, and from that comes acceptance and love of others. Anyone that bullies is not happy, does not have a sense of self or interconnectedness, or is not connected to God, the divine, or the all that is. They're just not. They don't have a rich, sweet inner life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that. And usually, they are bully themselves at home. So that further reinforces or destabilizes them. So we're healing from that to really open up and embrace ourselves on a soul level. Yeah. All right, let us get to callers. Hello, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for taking my call. I enjoyed your talk. This is Carla.
Hi, Carla.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi. So, as you probably recall, I've called you a few times over the past couple of months trying to figure out the situation on my condo, and you keep saying that it will sell. And I'm just wondering if there's a way, we can narrow in on the timeline. Do you see anything in terms of, will it be this month?
I don't know. The only thing that I get with you is that patience, and I feel like things move more in the spring. I might have even said May.
Right.
I feel and that's interesting that a lot of times, many times, in fact, our individual life and focus is influenced, affected by the collective, by the outer circle, and so you are you are in an odd time, and especially with your place, the type of place that you have. There's a lot of places I feel that are like that, and people are looking more for best deals, or they're waiting after taxes, after there's money concerns. So you're bumping into a lot of that, and also I feel psychically how the condo has been on the property or in the market. The property has been on the market a long time. So that's what I could tell you. I would say I still stand by things moving more in the spring, things moving more in May, people coming back around. But it did show, I do remember, delays, and also you put the condo in the market. That's not just psychic. That's, during the winter. So people have seen it. So there's a lot more than just your, your individual focus. So maybe one thing that can help you manifest or draw in is just what I've been talking about. Look at what is definable in your life. Look at what you can do. Because if you start harnessing energy that way, you tap more into the abundance frequency. Right now you're tapping into the lack of what's not happening, but you don't know what's happening underneath the surface, right? So sometimes what has to happen is when we start focusing on, like, for instance, a gratitude list or appreciation, or we just go, okay, this is slow, this isn't moving, let me put my energy over on X and Y. Let me focus on that. Then you start connecting it. Okay, well, then just keep doing that. Focus, that's what I would share with you.
Whenever I get, a little upset about it, I do focus on what's right in my life, and there's so much to be grateful for. But I guess, just patience is the issue, and I felt like in the beginning I was very patient.
I would say
now
not,
I'm like...
but see, you're still getting disappointed about it. See, that's where the shift has to happen, where you just enter a resolve, like this may not sell, or this may not sell when it's going to. But once you come to peace with that, and you go, I'm just putting this over to the side, and now I'm going to create something over here. I'm going to focus over here. I'm redoing my garden. I'm doing this, or I'm going to, I don't know, whatever it is. That starts bringing the disparate energy, the energy that is, because I can see it in your energy pad. It's kind of, so when you get back into that, more of that, the whirlwind of abundance, then those energy patterns start coming together, or energy flows is really what they are. They start coming back together and coalescing. It works. I've done it in my own life when things haven't been working or haven't happened, and I just completely leave that. And it doesn't, the key is to do it. You have to completely leave that worry. You have to hand it to the higher self. You might get my MP3, Transforming Fear into Creativity. Because if you don't leave it, it doesn't matter what you tell me or what you tell yourself or what you tell your friends. Yeah. The universe goes only by the energy. And for me, just meeting people or going to a cafe or museum, doing something like that, boom, I know what gets my energy back into that abundance flow where the energy can now coalesce. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. For me, it actually is watching movies. It transports me, and it's fun. So I do that.
No, you need to get out, though. You need out, because if that's what you're doing, it's not... Yeah. That's what I would share with you. Oh, Carla, keep us posted.
I appreciate that, Michele.
Oh, you're
Take
so
care.
welcome. You too. Bye-bye. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michele. It's Haley.
Hey, Haley. Hi. Hello.
Hi. I was wondering if you could connect in with my fur child, Einstein. He's my dog, and I just feel like he has been bad lately, and I'm not sure what to do about it.
And what's his name?
Einstein.
Einstein. Oh, I love that. Little Einstein-y. Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, get him a couple things. Either you or him or both of you. There's some stomach stuff going on.
Okay, I've wondered that actually. Okay.
Yeah, there's something going on with the stomach, but also you've been a bit sad or disappointed. Something that was supposed to happen didn't happen. It might have been even a relationship. Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's picking up on that energy, and he wants to go out and explore, go someplace new.
Okay.
And so, so that's it. He's perking up. His little ears are going up. So, there is something in the tummy. There's something going on there. And maybe even with you. You guys are he is your little baby, so he is picking up stuff.
Okay.
And that disappointment. You thought that this was leading somewhere, going to be somewhere. And, I would have a little talk with him, and I would just say, little Einstein, if you're listening, and you can have a similar talk with him, and just let him know that you want someone in your life, but you're perfectly happy with him, and to pal around and do some fun stuff together.
Okay.
But that's what it is. It's that disappointment. I think for some reason you really felt it.
Yeah.
I think you had a whirlwind or something.
The person, yeah. But I have been really sad, and I've been definitely he's been my little comforter through all of it. So I'm sure he feels it.
But he's absorbing all that, just like children do. So you need to not. He needs to be your explore buddy. He's your child, so you want to comfort him, reassure him, everything's good, and, I'm just a little sad this didn't work out. I thought it was really going to work out, but we're going to have fun till we get the one in here.
Yeah.
And we're going to go explore, and we're going to eat some good food. I'm going to get you a good snacky, and I'm going to get a good snacky.
Perfect.
And, that's what's going on.
That makes sense. It's funny, too, because I have been thinking I need to take him new places.
Yeah.
So I'm about to do that right now. So.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I wondered,
bored, just like you are, because you need to go to new places.
Right.
Yeah, you may be meeting somebody with a dog, by the way, being out and about.
Okay. I've wondered if he wants a little animal friend, but I don't know if
people always do that. And I'm also as a psychic medium and channel and animal communicator. Most of the time people get another dog, it's dogs, especially if they've been your baby, it's just you have to go doggy by doggy. But what I have seen a lot, they really bond with you, especially if they've been, they don't always want another to share your attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's for you to get out and about. This is your little explorer, Dora the Explorer energy. This is, you guys go out here and there, this and that. That's what he wants to do again.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. That definitely resonates.
Oh, good. Okay, we're going to get, thanks for calling in, Aileen.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun.
Right,
okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Let's get to the next caller. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle. It's Sunray. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Oh, my gosh, I miss you so much. I just wanted to say first a quick shout-out to Bob. Because when you were talking about the defined areas of one's life, I had the same question. So
perfect.
I thought that was really great. It really answered all my questions. And the beginning of today's podcast was just so much confirmation for what I'm experiencing, and which is all the above, just the gravity of things in motion. And coming together, but also the mystery of everything. So everything's just kind of still not as defined.
No. Well, the thing is, we're talking about definable energy, that the energy is starting to coalesce. So this is where, and actually you're in the Patreon too. The Soul Path.
I just got back. Yeah, I just
signed
up again.
Yay. I hope sometime you can come to our class, our meeting.
at some point.
Yes. That's for the soul journeyer, I believe.
Yeah, soul path journeyer. But yes, so everything that we're doing about getting that extrasensory perception to be able to perceive, right, on the soul level, extending to the higher self, because you want to work with the energy before. It's like that hunch. Or, a lot of times, especially my actor friends, they'll say, I just knew something about this role. I knew my life was going to change.
Yeah, just tapping into one's intuition.
So that's what people need to be doing right now, is to honestly feel that. And because it's not necessarily definable in a manifested, made physical way. We're still dealing with what's coalescing on I would say it's coming from the Akashic, but we're dealing a lot with right now the astral plane. I think I talked about that, and I did do a video in Patreon. We did it in the group, but I did do 2 tutorials on the astral plane, what that is, how it corresponds to the body. And so a lot happens, in that astral plane. That's why I feel like I don't want to reiterate, I feel like I'm kind of keep underscoring this, and because I want to really emphasize how important this is for everyone, because people are wanting to know what direction or how do I manifest this. You have to feel it. Where is the energy picking? It's like dating.
I think you mentioned this. I also wanted to kind of, I'm picking up on what you're putting into your caution, what the stream of consciousness that you're saying is one thing that I've translated and that you've mentioned in past podcasts of okay, there's a retrograde coming up, there's an eclipse, there's a full moon, there's a new moon. Maybe that's 3 months down the line, but it's not that. It's about tapping into that energy and reining it in to this present moment, that you can still pull that in. And I've translated that now into if I want a car and I'm wanting to manifest that car, it might be 3-4 months down the line or a year from now, that relationship, that house, that condo, whatever, that I can tap into that's happening there into this now moment. And then that's kind of the aligning with that energy. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's a piece, but also what I'm sharing is that our next step, or what we're meant to be doing, is, okay, Carla, lovely Carla, are you still listening? This is a good example with the condo. If it's not moving or selling in that direction, then there is something else that's opening. There always is. We may not want to look at it. And that's why I said, in a way, it's kind of like dating. We might be dating, and I get this all the time with clients. They might be dating 3 or 4 people, and the one that they want, I don't see that. They're like, well, that's the one I want. I'm like, okay, but there's 3 or 4 other people, and then they'll say, well, yeah, I know it is so and so really likes me. We have a connection, but I really like the other one. Okay, but that's not what is.
That energy.
That's
the
big wake-up call. You see, we've been trained, and also the misinformation about people, and I hate to say it, very famous people that do not understand the truth of the law of magnetic attraction or law of correspondence, that you don't use that, you activate it by noticing what is active in your life, and you have to, like an alchemist, you have to garner that energy. You have to let it coalesce. It's like if I wanted to make a huge teapot that serves 12 people, and I only have enough clay for 6, I could be upset that I didn't buy enough, or my friend or my family member or my husband didn't buy enough, my girlfriend didn't buy enough clay, or they didn't have the money. We get into story. I really want this to sell. I really want this to happen. I really want that guy. I really want that girl. We get all in, and it's like, okay, you have a blob of clay that will only make a mini teapot. That's what you have. So the universe, which is our higher, yes, do you see what I'm saying? The higher self, because we think it's a straight line. It's not a straight line. The higher self and the universe will start going, oh, they're envisioning a bigger teapot. And they'll lead you somewhere, but we go, no, I don't want to go there. I want to do my teapot. And the universe is opening this door. We're getting nudged. We're getting a feeling to do something else, but we go, no, I want to make the teapot right now. We stay stuck on that damn teapot. And then we go somewhere. Finally, we give in. A friend says, God, you've been resisting this. I just want to take you to this place. I think it has what you need. And you go there, and there's mounds of clay. And the owner says, I'm selling the place. You can have all the clay you want. And you're like, oh, I just wanted a 12-serving teapot. And then you go, oh, my God, I can make a teapot for myself. And I could make 100 teapots and sell them on Etsy now. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow, talk about abundance.
Yes, but we hold on to that little
really great
thing.
Visual.
Right? That's what we hold on. I've done it myself. We hold on because this is what I'm focused on right now. This is what I want. Mm-hmm. But when we learn to really let it go, and it is radical, it's challenging, and it's uncomfortable because our ego mind says, if you don't keep focusing on it and worrying about it and trying to make it happen, it won't happen. And that is the lie. It will happen. It's what we call applied effort. It's the right of effort applied. If we apply too much, the energy collapses or dissipates or moves away. We get exhausted.
Too much focus.
If we don't apply enough energy, then there isn't enough electricity to connect with the thing, and then the magnetic energy to draw it in. So, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's potent. Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes
You're welcome.
a ton of
Thank
sense.
you, and thank Bob in the chat. Love it.
Yes. And all of your magical words have been just like, thank you for breaking it down and the magic behind it, and taking an energetic shot every time you say coalesce too as well.
Yes, it is a coalesce. I mean, it works.
Word.
I mean, I've shared with people on this podcast about my car situation where I need to get a new car, my little Mini, I loved it. It was just time for it to move on. And I go to look for cars, and it's after the thingy happened, no cars. And then, they're not available. They're not getting them in. They're not in stock. I look around. I look online. I look in other states. I look out. Then they start getting them in, but they're used cars as expensive as a brand new one or more expensive than a brand new. So I wait. I wait 2 months, 3 months. I say I can walk. I can take Uber and Lyft. Let it go. I let it go. I come back. Oh, now they don't have the electrical thing, something. So again. So then I just totally let it go, and I said, I'm going to let it go for another 6 months, 8 months, see what happens. And people were telling me, oh yeah, it took me 6 months to get my car, or I'm on a waiting list, or they paid an exorbitant amount of money for a car that really wasn't worth it. So where I live, I can, great friends. I have Uber, I have Lyft, I could rent a car. I did that sometimes. I totally let it go. And then a friend asked me to take care of, you guys know, Little Monkey and Dorje, to take care.
Oh, yeah.
This acquaintance of mine was moving out of the country.
Yeah.
And then she says, because I hate car shopping. I always do. That's why I get a new car. I keep it almost forever because I just hate the whole process. I'm not a car. I love car. I think they're great, but I'm not a big car person.
I'm in that space right now looking for one.
Well, then she says, and I need to get rid of my, my lease. Would you want to take that over? And I'm like, what do I have to do? I just have to pay this, fill this out. And I'm like, and it was right at the time that I was going to start looking again.
Oh, my gosh.
This is what I'm talking about, folks. And it was something, my previous car was a BMW. This was a BMW. My car before that, Mercedes. It was right in my cushy range, comfort for the lumbar, sunroof. And I was looking at going from a small little car to a SUV. And, by the way, 2 months before this happened, I was telling a friend of mine, I had a dream of a new car was in my driveway, a black car. And and I was like, I didn't think of getting that kind of car. That's not what I was looking at. But I told my friend Lori, I said, well, I know I'm going to get a new car. And I go, maybe someone's going to gift me a car, which is pretty much
that's what I've mentioned about, because I have no savings, and I'm like, okay, I want to manifest this car in 3 months, and I just got my license on 420 and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm just going to tell the universe, how would someone just give me a car?
You focus on what's coalescing. I let go of the car and all that. Friends of mine everybody's like, Michelle, you need a car. Why don't you have a car? I'm like, yeah, I can afford to buy a car paying outright. It's not about the money. It's about, I knew Spirit, my higher self, was keeping me slowed down and focused on other things. I went way inward. I did a lot of workshops. This is what I'm trying to explain to everyone. I didn't worry about, and I didn't identify with what having a car or not having a car means, or status of it, or I'm a slacker, or I'm a this. I let it completely go, and I put that energy into my healing, my inner work, and working with the spiritual hierarchy and the oversouls, and doing these workshops and things that I started doing for union. I said, let me create in another way. That's what I'm really trying to get acrough. That energy,
kind of like if you're at a would it be kind of like when you're sitting at dinner and you like put in at a restaurant and you like sit down and you put in your food order with the server, and that's you kind of putting that effort. I'm putting this out there, this is what I want to eat. And then letting it go, as in like trusting that the server will take that order to the kitchen will make it, and then it'll come back to you. And is that what you kind of mean of like letting it go and then?
Yes, and your higher self is walking with the server. See, everyone's forgetting about the higher self. They're only focusing on the cognitive or rational mind or the conscious mind. We could talk about it, the subconscious that connects into the creative unconscious or the collective unconscious. There is a part of you that is still working on what it is that you want. That's what I'm trying to get across, and that's what's going to be a big switcheroo and aha in this new paradigm. If I really want something, there is an aspect of me or part of me that's moving and making that happen for the best result based on my vibrational frequency, emotional development, level of havingness with how much I could have. I already told friends, I said, look, yeah, I could go out and buy a car right now. I could pay cash for it, but I don't want the hassle. I don't want to keep driving to places or looking out. One day I was on 8 hours, 8 hours online and calling people and internet and, you can get this car in Texas sent to you. And I'm like, then I can't look. And I'm like, no, I'm letting that go. That's not my idea of fun. Let it go. I completely let it go. My ego, my avatar, let it go so I can create and focus and learn and do other things while energetically, etherically on the spirit realm, the higher self with the universe or God or whatever is getting with another person's higher self. Everything was being worked out. That's what I'm trying to communicate, is just because it's not happening right now in the way that you want or we want or I want, it doesn't mean that it's not coming into form. But you have to follow the energy, the resonance, to get into the energy to coalesce, to make it, to draw it in or make it happen. It's the same, it's all the same energy.
Wow.
Let's see if our guest is coming on yet.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
You are download. You always do that, and Bob. The deep downloads come through. The deep downloads.
Let it flow. All right.
Yeah, let it flow.
So much, Michelle.
Yeah, just don't think if you focus on something else, your higher self, the true you, your guides, God, the universe, higher self, whatever belief system you have, that is not forgotten. You still have to do your part. I mean, if you want to lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds, you probably have to do some walking or go to the gym or do something. But if you've engaged that part of you, the subconscious or unconscious, if you've engaged that part or the inner psyche where the higher self is, then you're going to notice, oh, I'm eating healthier, I'm eating better, I'm walking a little more, oh, I'm hanging out more with my friend that likes to be active. I'm doing, I'm getting up in the morning and working out. I'm not watching 6 hours of Netflix. I'm watching 4 hours, and then the other 2 hours I'm cooking. And you know what I'm saying? These things start happening.
Yeah, you're making small changes.
Yes, but they start happening spontaneously. Yes, they start coming together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited now. Thank you. This is some delicious messages.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see like a beautiful origami just now unfolding. And then watching every beautiful piece of origami unfolding and then coming together to form this bigger pattern, and then that forming into a new type of origami.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what this discussion has brought, and I really appreciate you so much, Michele.
You're welcome.
So much
back at you. You too. Back at you.
Yeah.
Big hug.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. All right, Joy Fun Happiness was wondering what workshops you were taking. No, I was teaching them. This is what I teach. This is a lot of what I teach in my workshops and seminars and retreats. So I got busy creating curriculum to do what I was already doing and manifesting from that place, right? A lot of times we teach what we know, right, or what we've learned. All right, so let's get to our second half of the program, our Awakening Dialogue with Drake Eastburn. Very excited as a fellow hypnotherapist, very excited to connect with him. His most recent book is The Hypnotist Bible, A Reference and Journey. It was released in December 15th, 2022, so you can still get that. Anything about hypnotherapy is always of interest to me. Hello there, Drake. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Nice day here.
Yeah? Yeah, nice day. Where are you calling from? What area?
Well, I'm outside of Denver, Colorado, a little ways.
Oh, nice. You've got, I bet, beautiful weather in the mountains there.
Yeah, we got nice blue sky, and it's nice and just a little bit cool, but where it feels good, not too cool.
Yeah. So, actually, one of my hypnotherapy teachers, I think, is out by your way, Dr. D. Hahn. I don't know if you know of him, but I do believe in Colorado. Moved there. I knew him when he was in the San Diego area. Yeah, and then he moved there. Let's dive in a bit, and I love that you also are teaching foundational classes through your Institute in Colorado and Globary. That is great, because I do feel that hypnotherapy, hypnosis it's not yet fully understood or tapped into, and I feel that as we go more into this new paradigm, that is going to be one of a key adjunct therapeutic practice for a lot of modalities, whether it's self-hypnosis or people working with others. But if you could, for our listeners, because there is so many, as you know, misnomers about hypnotherapy or hypnosis, share with us a bit, because you have a lot of experience, your understanding and your uses of hypnotherapy for our listeners.
Wow. That's not a small question, actually. You think it'd be
Drake,
it'd be a simple one.
This is how we do it. We deep dive here. They're ready. They are ready. People, they're ready. I'm sure some of them are already ordering your book, because that's how it goes here. People are like,
okay.
This is interesting. Let me go. Yes.
Yeah. Since I wrote the book, What is Hypnosis, I ought to be able to answer that question pretty easily, but everybody wants to compartmentalize things. They want this nice, simple little one-sentence explanation, and it just kind of defies that. And
yes,
people
I agree.
Used,
it's multi-leveled.
Yeah. People use definitions like it's a relaxed state, or a deeply relaxed state, or a profound state, or a state of heightened suggestibility, or focused awareness, or whatever. And all of those things are part of hypnosis. but none of them are actually definitions of hypnosis because, if we say heightened level of suggestibility, well, that is a response to being in hypnosis. So it can't be hypnosis. It's one of the byproducts of being in hypnosis.
Yes.
Same way we say, well, it's a relaxed state. Well, that often is. Often when we are in hypnosis, we are relaxed, but we don't have to be to relax. So that doesn't work either. And hypnosis, again, is the thing causing those sensations of relaxation. So there's been lots of debate, and it goes on in the academic world as well. They're no better at this than anybody else, but it doesn't keep them from putting their opinions out there. And there's a lot of debate about whether it's a state or a non-state and all this, and it comes down to it really doesn't matter. In the second edition of my book, What is Hypnosis Really?, I promote the application theory of hypnosis. And hypnosis, in the application theory, hypnosis is not about being in a state or being in a non-state. It's about has some application, some sort of cause occurred which causes some sort of hypnotic response, those things that we call a hypnotic response. And it could be something, it could be me as a hypnotist taking you through a certain process that helps you to achieve these levels of consciousness. But just as easily, it could be something serendipitous that, you're just daydreaming and next thing you know, you're off in Never Never Land or whatever. That is also just as valid. It's a little harder to measure, if somebody comes to me and I take them through a process to, let's say, relieve a headache, and the outcome is there's no more headache, then we know what the application and the procedure was and the result. But when it's serendipitous, there is a cause and effect, but it's not always as apparent because we weren't like charting the whole thing, so it's like there it is, but we didn't notice it.
Right.
So it's all. I'm giving you the very abbreviated version of this definition because it's kind of long. But you know what?
But I like what you're saying because I agree. Because a lot of times people talk about really the out-picturing or symptom or aspect of, but not really the consciousness that is achieved. It's usually like, well, I use hypnosis for relaxation, or you feel relaxed, or it's like when you're staring out, or you're driving and you look out the window, or the state before you get up, or right before you get up, or right before you go to sleep. But you're talking about what's right before that sweet spot. There's something that is happening.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting, Drake. Yeah,
and we can use a lot of methods to get there,
Right.
But none of those methods are hypnosis in and of itself. They're just tools to help us
get to that state or get there.
Yeah, back in the day, Dr. James Braid walked into the observation room, and his patient was sitting there staring into an oil lamp, and he had been watching this flickering flame of the oil lamp to where it hypnotized him, and he recognized that he could guide this person around. That the flame itself had caused the induction into hypnosis, and all of a sudden that became a major way of hypnotizing people, was staring into flames. Oh, we all know if we sit and stare at a candle or something, it can take us into a trance, or if we're sitting around the campfire or looking in the fireplace, those kind of things can take us into trance. And back in his day, they used those flickering flames, but they also used things like mirrors and crystals and the edge of a knife, anything to focus. And a lot of this was referred to as fascination. And sometimes they used several mirrors and even rotating sets of mirrors, and they would hypnotize an individual or groups of people. And this is all kind of found by accident. It's like this wasn't a scientific discovery. Well, I guess a lot of what we call scientific discoveries are just accidents that we stumbled upon, which is great. But so when we think about, sometimes I say hypnosis is its own definition. And what I mean by that, if you, back in English class, the teacher told you don't define the word with the word, but, and I understand that, but, if, like we look at electricity. So what is electricity? Well, there's not really a good definition for that either. People go, well, it's current flowing through a conductor, which can be the case, but what if we have static electricity or chemical electricity or magnetic electricity? They don't have to flow anywhere. And so those definitions, then some say, well, it's energy. Well, of course it is energy. However, as Einstein said, everything is energy, so that really doesn't explain us either. But we all know what electricity is, and we all use it, even though we don't have a very good definition of it. And I think hypnosis is the same way. We use it all the time. Whether we realize it or not, we're using it all the time. But it's not easy to put a thumb on. So, in a way, hypnosis is its own definition. And we go to a lot of trouble to get by any definition that we might have learned in our hypnosis classes. And I've been in a lot of classes, and none of those definitions so far have satisfied my curiosity. So that's kind of the way that works. But that there's a whole chapter in what is hypnosis really, the second edition, that talks about the application theory and how that fits into what we do. And it should help to alleviate arguments that people have out there, especially in the academic world. Those guys just love to argue these things, and most of them are wrong anyway.
Yeah.
But we have to do it. It's an exercise we like to go through, I guess. I'm not a big arguer myself. I like to look at the facts and examine them and see if it applies to what's going on in reality. But
I would agree. I'm very
stuff.
similar. I'd rather I'm of the. It's okay. We can agree to disagree. If it gets going back and forth, let's just agree to disagree and move on. We don't need,
Yeah.
That is fascinating, though. So that's one of the books. Is you've written 7 books on the subject. So that's one people should have.
It's 8. Actually, going to be 9 here very shortly.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be stopping anytime soon. So. Good.
Yeah, that's. Well, we need. I mean, with that explanation, because people always ask, and I really like what you're saying, because it puts it off of these identifiers that people say, well, I wasn't relaxed, or how was that working? Or I wasn't this, how was that working? I wasn't that, how was that working?
Yes.
I feel like, right, everybody's mind is so individual, how they process, the triggering, there's so much individual that to focus only on that can,
Yeah. And you're exactly right. That's what people often say. I didn't feel relaxed, so I couldn't be hypnotized. No, you don't have to be relaxed to be hypnotized. No. So they'll go, well, I heard what you were saying, so I couldn't have been hypnotized. Or they'll go, I didn't hear what you were saying, so I couldn't have been hypnotized. It's like it just doesn't matter. You got to cover all your bases, because people don't realize that. I don't shut off your hearing, and I don't, put you to sleep necessarily, but and I do a lot of work these days in really deep state hypnosis, because for one thing.
Do you? Tell me,
if you work in an Esdell state, at the end, the person doesn't sit up and go, oh, I don't think I was hypnotized. It's like nobody says that when they're in an Esdell state. And I like the fact that, one of the things, the main thing that comes into my office these days is anxiety. And people
a lot of people having that, sleep and anxiety. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
It's the main stuff that comes into my office these days. I used to be smoker, this, that, other thing, and now I don't get that near as many smokers, but anxiety is coming in. As fast as people have given up smoking, they've gained anxiety, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's a reflection of our culture. It's like, and people's coping mechanisms and relaxation methods are breaking down, or we're just too busy to practice, some mindfulness or whatever. And so people are coming in, they're full of anxiety. But in these deep states of hypnosis, they're getting their relaxation back. See, we get so anxious that we forget how to relax. It's like, and
that's true.
They come
you get wound
in
up. Now, let me ask you, Drake, if somebody's coming, let's say working through deep hypnosis, could that, obviously it can alleviate or ameliorate, it could lessen the anxiety, but from that, could someone get into a state where they're then are less anxious, or they don't have the anxiety?
Sure. Yes, and that's what we're trying to do, because a lot of times, we're not trying, we are doing. But a lot of times what happens is we get going down this path, and we keep going down that same path, and that same path keeps us in the anxiety mode. And by doing something like going into these deep states of consciousness, now we've offered another model. The analogy that I like to use is, if you get up every morning, you step out on your porch and you head out down that same path that you've gone every day. And that path could be the path of a smoker, it could be being anxious, it could be any number of things that we might be having going on in our life. And then one morning you get up and you step out on the front porch, and there's been a heck of a snowstorm, and there's no sign of the path out there anymore, except for off over here to the side during the night, with the help of your local hypnotist, we've dug a new path. And now that becomes the easy path to take, or the path of least resistance, as I would say. And so now this new, healthier, better path becomes your normal path. And that, a lot of times, is all that we need to do, is to teach the mind there's a better way to go. And once we start doing that, it begins to feel normal, and then that becomes our normal path. Sure, there may be things in a person's past that has caused this anxiety, and I always talk about these things. I ask people about any past traumas or abuse or, their birth experiences, things like that. I find that a lot of people who have anxiety, the beginnings occurred very, very early in life. And luckily, we don't have to find that beginning every time. Once in a while, that might be necessary in some cases, but for the most part, it's just teaching the mind there's a better way of doing things and an easier way of doing things, and then pretty soon it takes off. It's the same way with their sleep issues. A lot of people with anxiety, a lot of times having poor sleep patterns also goes along with it, but when we learn that we can sleep, then the mind tends to keep going in that direction. Some people, especially with anxiety, they try to stay hypervigilant, almost PTSD-like. And you can't stay aware of your surroundings and fall asleep at the same time. There's a point where you got to just trust that you're going to close your eyes and fall asleep, and you'll wake up in the morning. And if not, if you die in the night, I'll give you your money back.
That's true, though. There is this hypervigilance. Now, I like what you're saying here. So it's training or retraining the mind and the brain that you can, getting the brain function, but the mind, like you can do this. This is possible. So are you saying then through that repetition of this is possible, this is possible, this is possible, then it begins to believe it's possible and then do that, which is now possible in its mind?
I wouldn't necessarily do it like that. I wouldn't just say this is possible, this is possible. It's like in these deep states, they experience what it's like to not feel anxious, So now they have a model to step into. It's like I can sit there all day and go, oh, you feel good, you're great, everything's wonderful, you're happy, but that doesn't really change anything. But when we give a person a model to step into. When we can create the feelings of what it's like to be relaxed, now they have a model to step into, because a lot of times we lost our model. This is what happens with people who have depression, for instance. What happens is somebody's been depressed for a long time. They don't know. They forgot what it's like to feel good. And I can sit there all day and you're happy. You feel great. Life is wonderful. Yeah, you're full of joy. Now, that's probably going to do, the only thing that's going to do is just irritate them. But
in the deep state you're doing them, or they're
by taking them into hypnosis, by taking them into hypnosis and taking them into the feel-good sensations, now we have a model that we can step into, and now we can step away from the depression and move ahead. I'll give my own example, because when I was in junior high and high school, I was extremely depressed, and I was in a very dysfunctional family who did not recognize anything less obvious than a compound fracture. I was doing horribly in school, flunking out of school, and one day I just go, I'm not going to have this anymore. I want to be happy. And what now I would say what I was looking for was joy in my life, which I didn't have. And I was just determined that I was going to change this. And I distanced myself from the negative things in my world, like my family and school. I dropped out of school. Now, I don't recommend that to everybody, but for me, it really helped, because going to school every day was just a reflection of what a freaking failure I was, until I stepped away from that and got into doing other things. And I turned my life around, and I'll say there's been a couple of times in my life, maybe more, maybe 3, where I've experienced bouts of depression. But even then, in the middle of that, I knew I could turn it off like a light switch. But I also feel like I'm going to allow myself to experience this. I think if we take that shadow aspect of self and we cram it down too long and don't let it express itself, it's going to pop up in some ugly way. So you might as well go for the ride, let it express, and then get back to your normal life in a week or so.
I like that.
So that's worked out.
So the environment has a lot to do with it, I'm hearing you say. And then you have to do something. I know a lot of times people say, well, I'm just going to, not think about it, or, you need to do something.
It's hard to not think about something.
It somehow comes up.
Because if you're not thinking about something, you're actually thinking about it. It's like, I'm not going to think about my headache. So what have you just done? You've created the headache. It's like we have to go another step or so away from that, and distance ourselves from it. As long as we're on that subject, that's one of the things that got me into this business. In the early 70s, I was doing some personal growth things, and I got into doing the Silva method. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
But the Silva method is, and it's part of the Mind Valley organization now. I don't know if you're aware of that. But so it's still around. And anyway, I mean, there was a lot of positive mental attitude, positive thinking. We did a lot of stuff in regard to manifesting success and, new cars and houses and all kinds of things. But at that time, I was a migraine sufferer. And I learned hypnosis methods to get rid of the migraines. And I've never had a migraine since. I've helped a lot of people get rid of theirs. But one of the things is we can't, if you've probably heard people go, every Monday morning I wake up with a freaking migraine. Well, what are we doing? We're creating that migraine to show up every Monday morning. We got to stop thinking about the migraine and talking about it, because every time we talk about the headache, we're breathing life into it. We're giving it life by just noticing it or having some awareness that it could happen. So we
and
want
what
to
about also, Drake, about Yeah, that also it can, if it's the solution to a problem, that also I know needs to be addressed, that part. If it has some, a higher functioning order, like I get to get off of work.
Like a secondary gain or something.
A secondary gain, yes.
Yes, and that's, that is often follows with migraines. Often I find that migraines, there's a secondary gain. It's a way that I can get out of going to this or that function, or I can avoid having sex with that stupid husband, or, whatever. But it is a way that we can manipulate our world. It's not a very high functioning way. And so sometimes we have to address those things, and there's ways to, in hypnosis, to determine if something is a secondary gain and if there's, some payoff there that we can deal with and like that. But, you're right. That is often the case. And it is with other physical issues. Who as a child didn't feign a stomachache to get out of that exam or whatever was going on at school that day, And while, as a kid, we didn't just lie about having a stomachache. We created a stomachache, and we can, and we have a lot of power over our physical well-being. And if that worked for us when we were little kids, and we use that very often, it might keep on working for us later in life. And that's really not a direction we go. I mean, we refer to that as psychosomatic, and people go, it's all in your head. And, it is in my head and it hurts like hell, And it is, but psychosomatic is simply the relationship between the body and the mind. Our psychosomatic relationship could be, I catch every bug that comes around and I feel like crap and I got no energy. Or it could be, I'm the healthiest person in the world, and I feel good, nothing affects me. That's our psychosomatic relationship. So it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but that's usually the way we think of it. But we can also have a very good psychosomatic relationship with ourselves, our bodies.
Now that's a good point, and that's something people can start now, even doing something about. Is having a better psychosomatic relationship, the mind-body relationship. That's a really good start for people. A lot of times people listen to podcasts and they're like, even if they get the book or the whatever it is, the program, people go, okay, what can I start now? What can I start implementing? I think that's a really, 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 really key piece. Now let me just wind back with your recent book. Do you cover this? It's a reference and a journey. Is this about your journey?
Okay.
And then let's talk a bit about that.
So the Hypnotist Bible. Now you're a hypnotist, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so it would be of interest to you. It would not be of interest to somebody who wasn't a hypnotist, probably, because it's a lot of reference material. It's like a huge glossary.
I love reference materials. I love my reference materials.
Me too. And sometimes I have a hard time finding much in hypnosis that's really good. But it's a huge glossary of terminology and things like that. And the reason I call it a reference and a journey is because some of these terms that I explore in here come from way, way back in the history of hypnosis, and we use some of these terms today, but a lot of people don't know why we use them or where they came from or, that sort of thing. And it's like, the more we know about the terminology, the more we know about that thing that we're doing. And it's very helpful. If like you go, you might be reading something, you go, I wonder what that means or whatever, and you can just open my book and it's in there. Because if I left anything out, it wasn't my fault. It's all in there. And, I'll give you one example. At one point, I talk about the Bechterew-Bernheim method, and I only talk about it briefly, but it was a form of direct suggestion. But Vladimir Bechterew, and I just got a couple of his books, which there's not much out there, but he was more of a neurologist in Russia, and he was a brilliant guy, and he was in opposition to Pavlov. They were both doing the same things at the same time. Bechterew was probably way more advanced, but he didn't get the same notoriety, and I'll kind of explain why. But he did lots of research and books and materials. However, one day he was called in to examine Stalin. And when he examined Stalin, he diagnosed him as being paranoid. And Bechterew was found dead the next day. Foul play is suspected. But along with
my God.
Along with that, they discredited him, and they destroyed a lot of his research and documentation and stuff. So a lot of that got lost to that. And I'm researching him a bit more now. I've gotten some more material and stuff, but it's one of those kind of dark kind of things there that's laying there. But it's like, here's somebody that would have, did contribute to the world, but even more so had it not come to this kind of an end and his material been done away with. But it's some of those interesting things that you find in there that you probably weren't aware of.
I'll take a look.
You'd probably like my book, The Therapeutic Hypnotist, because there's a lot of good things in there for the practitioner, especially.
Okay, let me look. I'm on your site. I'm looking and seeing home. Now, do you have a list of books here?
Well, there should be. Yeah, there better be.
Oh, I see it. Books. Okay, yeah, because there's not a lot of the newer information. It's like older. You have to go years back really to get some of the better books. There's just not a lot. And there's not a lot of training, either. So it's always good to have. Right? It's important, especially when you're doing scripts. You can read and I'll bring that back. Oh, I forgot about that or that technique. Oh yeah, I'll try that. So especially I feel when you've been practicing a while, it's good to get re-inspired and to reimagine. To reimagine.
Yes. Yes.
But now I see the list of books. Okay, I'm going to look through them. That is great. And even for people starting out, what would you suggest that are listening now?
Well, a good place to start would be What is Hypnosis Really, second edition.
Okay.
That would
like
give people a good
saying.
understanding of hypnosis.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. You've got on Amazon. Oh, I'm glad to meet you. Great to have a great conversation, great to chat, but also you're a great resource because you have done a lot of research and you've been, doing it for a while. And I think that's key to anybody working with someone, really wants to work with someone. I feel that's, has done the training, the schooling, and has done the research, because I remember one of my teachers once saying something to the effect of, well, it's not so much about the state or consciousness, it's what you're doing in that state. If you don't know what to do, so what are you doing when they're in hypnosis? That's...
Yeah, there's something to all that, and, there's some things like, I could do some of these things I do in a very light state of hypnosis, and they would be very effective. But by doing something similar in a very deep state of hypnosis, it becomes a convincer, because the person feels different. They feel hypnotized, and therefore that in itself becomes a convincer. So the mind goes, oh my God, I am hypnotized. This must be working, and therefore, boom. It's like Milton Erickson.
That's so true. Yep.
Milton Erickson was a convincer because people would go to him and, my God, it's Milton Erickson. He's a freaking genius. And sometimes people didn't even know what he was saying because he had this, his voice had been damaged from the polio, and so he was kind of hard to understand a lot of the time. But your mind goes, well, my God, it's Milton Erickson. He must be telling me right here, and they're cured of whatever.
And and do you feel this too, Drake? There is something, and I feel like that is the therapeutic process, whether it's coaching or even looking at coaching for a sport or something. When you have someone that aligns with your optimal health and wellness, the greater good, you have that. It does open you up to, this could be possible. This person sees that or says this can happen. You can achieve this or you can release this, right? So I feel even if they don't understand the words, the intention is there. The energy of that is coming through into the subconscious or unconscious, and that's where the patterning starts changing because they, to your point, they felt something different. They felt the relief. They felt the positivity, right? They felt it. And I agree. That's why I think the deep states are so powerful. That, and plus the body-mind gets to relax a bit. And anytime that happens, that's a good thing, right? Goes into homeostasis.
Yes, we need that too. And I do some meditations and self-hypnosis and stuff, and there's times when I go, it's nice to have somebody else do it to you. To help kind of guide the whole thing. It's like I say, well, people go, well, do you do self-hypnosis? I go, yeah, but so they go, well, what's the difference? Why don't you just do that? And I go, because think of it this way. If I have a sore shoulder, I can rub my shoulder, and that helps. But it's a lot different if a massage therapist rubs that shoulder because it helps a whole lot more.
Absolutely. I'm a big proponent, and especially if you find someone you like their approach and you like their voice, it's like you get to relax a bit. It's like there's added relaxation in that as well.
Somebody else, and not only that, you've got another mind looking at the same issue, and that other mind is going to see things maybe differently, have a little different take on stuff, and that could be all it takes sometimes to make a big shift. So I'm a big fan of having other people around. Now, when I'm teaching classes and I got students around, I'll have my students hypnotize me. And I go, I'm going to put you to work. I'll make you practice.
You got to practice, and who better to practice than on me? I agree. Oh, Drake. Okay, we're winding down now. Let us know, and we didn't get to lose. I want to, whenever you have time, to come back for a part 2 because this has been phenomenal.
Sure.
So, absolutely, we can dive into even lucid dreaming, and now that a lot of our listeners will, obviously that a lot of times they re-listen to this, so they'll be able to, have other, questions or have a foundation. What's the best way for people to? Let's see, I think your website to get in touch with you. Let us know that. And then I see your books are all on Amazon, so people can just go to your book section and everything's on Amazon.
So if they go to hypnodenver.com, they can find anything they want. And there's a bunch of free stuff on there. There's free download recordings and stuff, so there's a lot of free stuff, if you just want to visit it and pick up some of those things.
Okay, great.
And there's information on the training and like that, and we'll be getting some more stuff out soon. The hypnosis training will be available as a video training any day now.
Okay.
My office manager has been working really hard at getting this together, so.
That sounds great. All right, Drake. Oh, and your website, which I think I just had, but I just closed the email.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hypnodenver.com.
Oh, hypnodenver.com. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Drake, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of this very insightful information and actually clearing some stuff up for us also. Thanks for being here on the program.
Sure. My pleasure. Time flew right by, didn't it?
It did. Boom. We went over even. I love it.
Okay.
All right, Drake, you take good care. Bye.
Hey, you too. Nice talk.
Nice talking with you also. All right, gang, that was Drake Eastburn, and how to get in touch with him is in the podcast episode. Lots of good insight. It's good to have these kinds of resources, especially from people that have trained a lot. That's my opinion, and been doing something for a long time, because there's a lot of kind of fly-by-night, quick kind of courses and classes. Everything has its place, though. Everything has its place. Thank you all for making this your place. I do appreciate you all so much and what we're co-creating here. If you want to do a deeper dive into metaphysics, spirituality, spiritualism, and all things esoteric, all things soul, you can connect with me in the Patreon group community, Soul Path community, and tutorials there. There are tutorials there for you. We have an individual and a group focus. What else? Soul Insights and Tarot. Yeah, come and connect there. Subscribe on YouTube. Awakenings with Michele Meiche podcast on YouTube if you'd subscribe there. And I did mention that workshop that's coming up on May 20th, so just in a few weeks. If you are interested in that, that's going to be on key codes, connecting into the subtle energy, and we will also be doing some sound attunement, a vibrational and sound attunement also in that. All right, Radiant Soul Lights, love you so much, and wishing you a great rest of your week. And remember, you are the creator that allows your dreams to be birthed into reality.
Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michele's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.